ready to go. So everyone, welcome. Please tell us your city and state that you're from. We would love to know where you're meeting us from. Oh, looks like we got quite a few people coming in. Let me see. Let me just turn this on. First of all the attendees, please let us know where you guys are from. So we've got from Cape Coral, Florida, Lakeland, Florida. Yeah, you've got Texas in the house, San Diego. Look at all those people coming in. That's lovely. We've got somebody from Columbia, Maryland, Central Coast, California, Vegas, baby. Yes. Montreal, welcome, welcome. We've got Leon, one of my favorite persons attending as well, from Tacoma, Washington. So, well, we've got Calgary, Alberta. That's awesome. Welcome, everybody. So, look, we are house full, almost getting there, right? I'm totally excited about this, Trudy. But before we move any further, guys, I want to introduce you to our guest speaker today. And first of all, let me just tell you what this is all about. This is this particular webinar is all about how to circle prospect using multiple offer scripts, hack for neighborhood farming, and how to find specific home types to appeal to buyers. Gosh, such value-packed information that we're going to share with you guys. Let me welcome Trudy Padilla. Right, Trudy, is that, did I say it correctly?
Padilla.
Padilla. I always mess up. I always mess up on the first or the last name. Of course, our favorite person, Hayley Johnson from REDX. But let me talk to you guys about Trudy real quickly. In her 6 years of being a realtor, Trudy has won numerous production awards and most recently, the Cultural Icon Award at Keller Williams. Good job. Congratulations on that. She is a member of the St. Augustine Office Associate Leadership, that is ALC, Vice President of the Small Business Council at St. Johns County Chamber of Commerce. Wow, this is awesome. And a volunteer of the St. John's Housing Partnership. Trudy is currently the team leader and rainmaker for the Trudy Can Sell. I love that name. Trudy Can Sell.
Trudy can sell that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. The team covering all of the Northeast Florida. Trudy is a member of the Northeast Florida Association of Realtors, St. John's, St. Augustine Board of Realtors, and what is it, Flagler County. Welcome. I mean, I could go on and on about you, but welcome, Trudy. We're looking forward to learning from you. We're looking forward to talking about some scripts. So take it away. Tell us a little bit about, and of course, Hayley, REDX. Love you guys. Truly, truly love you guys.
Wish I had a bio like that, but.
But definitely, Trudy, welcome. And again, please talk to us about what do you do to be so successful with circle prospecting and REDX?
Well, so, a little background, I have been in real estate, residential real estate, really about 30 years. And so, my background before becoming an agent was in title and then mortgage lending. So I really understood all of the fundamentals of real estate, from negotiations and contracts and transaction management. But business development, lead generation was definitely something that I had to work on, as we all do. I mean, really, who doesn't, right?
Absolutely.
So, last year, I decided that it was time, I was at that point where it was time to make a decision about, do I stay as a solo agent? Do I, move and start building a team? And so I made the decision to start building a team about a week before the quarantine began. So that was a lot of fun. But, I knew and was very comfortable with the streams of the revenue streams that were coming in, but I knew that I had to add parts to that in order to become successful as a team. And so I had started using REDX, I think about 6 months prior to starting the team. And so really had gotten familiar with how to use it and was using it in some ways that I've now really started focusing on much more in order to, take my business to the next level. And so I think we're going to talk about a few of those today, actually.
Yes, I would love to, know a little bit about that. How did you circle prospect? I mean, first of all, building a team during quarantine and during that 1 year that we had, that's past 1 year that we had. We just want to leave it there. To build a team, kudos to you. And then to add to add REDX. What were some of the circle prospecting scripts that you used, when you were in a multiple offer situation? How did you handle that?
Yeah, well, so the multiple offer script that we're using now is something very different than we were using, really, even a year, certainly a year ago, probably even 6 months ago. I don't know. I think November or December is really when we started seeing the inventory shrink to the level it is, right? So November and December, taking a listing at that time, everything changed. Instead of saying, well, in 2 weeks we're going to have a conversation about what feedback we're receiving and how we position ourselves to get an offer. No, now it's we have an open house on Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday we review offers, and that has been the conversation with every seller really since November. So that changed everything, right? We at this point in most markets, or many markets, you can put a listing on the market and it's gone that same day. Well, we wanted to make sure that we were leveraging the most that we could out of the listings that we had, because that really is what you do as as a listing agent. So that's when we started changing our script for the circle prospecting. You can't get postcards out fast enough that say just listed, right? Or you can't do it, right? So now if we're able to actually get the open house, which in many cases we are, we go around and do the invitation to the neighbors. And so then the follow-up to that is, well, this is how many buyers we had that didn't get the offer. So we know that they're looking for a house just like this in your neighborhood. So have you given any thought to selling, right? That is it's a very, different take on what we've been talking about in the past was, hey, look how much we got, right? It's not even about that anymore. I mean, it's partly about that, but it's about, I've got now 10 buyers that lost out on that property that really want something. Let's start having a conversation here. I'm already networked with these people. So,
Right.
It becomes very powerful.
Right. And then you can actually be the chosen realtor for that neighborhood, because again, you're doing that circle prospecting after you go pending, or if you have a coming soon. I think circle prospecting is so important in REDX. Even I use REDX. I mean, I think they are very powerful. Tell us a little bit about REDX as well, Hayley. Give us an intro to REDX. I'd love to know, a little bit about that too.
Intro. Should we talk about like circle prospecting with REDX? Okay, yeah, because that REDX, I could tell you a whole lot of stuff.
Oh, yes, you can.
So what Trudy's talking about here too is mostly with our GeoLeads tool, which is great. So if you can do it with just listed, just sold, or like Trudy was talking about, like finding a specific home, you can use filters to, let's say you have a buyer that wants a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and you can go and filter through that and find specific homes that fit that criteria, and then get all of the phone numbers for that certain demographic, and then just call them through like that. It's great. There's a drop tool that you can go, let's say you want to call around a specific neighborhood that a buyer's looking into, drop a pin, and then it'll get the nearest 500 houses, 200 houses, however many leads that you want. And then you can just call around. So, that's the GeoLeads tool for circle prospecting.
I totally love that feature. And Trudy, I'm sure you agree with this. I mean, it's so simple and so easy to use these filters and the drop pins. I mean, it's just 1, 2, 3, go, which I love. Let's talk a little bit about hacking for neighborhood farming. Tell us a little bit about what you do to get your home positioned, or, to really focus in on the neighborhood farming part of it. Because again, our listings are moving just so rapidly. You barely have the time to go from A to B to C, in this market.
Well, farming is more long game, right? So, and for me, farming, the neighborhood that I'm in, I really just bought in this neighborhood, so this is kind of it's new. So getting names and phone numbers and all of that data is really important to me because I want to make sure that I am top of mind. So for me, farming is also creating events or awareness, within my neighborhood. I want to be the realtor, of choice in that neighborhood, and so
Right.
I use all that data to help me, make sure that I'm top of mind. So I've got names, I've got addresses, I've got phone numbers. And because I have, is it Geo Plus, Hayley? Am I saying that right?
GeoLeads Plus, yeah.
GeoLeads Plus. I also get email addresses. So one of the great things about REDX is that REDX will scrub and let us know when a phone is on the do not call list, right? So we can stay out of trouble there, right? Until I am in a relationship with someone where, we're actually talking, communicating, can't even text them, right? So I've got to make sure that I'm establishing a relationship. Same is true of email. We're not supposed to use email addresses unless we know that they've given us permission to do so. But what we can do is use them with companies like AdWorks, where they use that to, advertise us, when someone's online, right? So if they're on Facebook or YouTube or wherever, and they're getting all of those little, all those little advertisements, then Trudy can sell that will pop up there. And again, that's what we're wanting. That's sort of the internet billboard, if you will. And we want to make sure that we're staying top of mind. So when they saw that postcard and they threw it away, but then they were, checking their Facebook and saw Trudy, it's just creating that awareness.
Yeah, it's really about, putting your face in front of them all the time, whether it's just doing events in the neighborhood, whether it's just sending out a pending postcard or even giving them a call. Hey, remember me? This is who I am. This is that person that keeps bugging you because I got multiple offers on this particular home. I think, circle prospecting and of course with REDX, teaming up with REDX has really helped. I didn't know about the GeoLeads Plus product that you have, Hayley. So for me right here. Oh my God, right there. So tell me a little bit about that, Trudy. Is it that it provides valid email addresses that you can send out emails and keep them put them in your database? How do you do that?
I don't do it. I don't use it for that reason because first of all, I don't know it's valid until, right. And I'm not going to send it out unless I know that they're okay with me using that information. What I'm using emails for right now is exclusively what I said I was, which is, going into the AdWorks campaigns. And I'm not sure what those are called, but they're the ones where, the internet billboard campaigns is what I'll call them, where my brand is actually getting advertised to them as they're online. So that's really how I'm using the email address. I save the email communication, the newsletters, and, all of those email blasts for people that I've had a conversation with. And I think actually that's a really good point maybe for us to remind everyone with circle prospecting. I mean, this is really a cold relationship, right? We don't really know the people often, certainly not in the circle prospecting, we don't know them. Yeah. And so, our first interaction, whether it's face-to-face or on the phone, is a get to know you session. And so really all that is about having a conversation. Any other motivation other than that might lead to frustration and lack of success. Having that conversation where they're opening up and then it can lead into something bigger is really what you want. That's really the objective. And so great thing about Vortex, which is the REDX platform that we use, you can take notes. So I pull up in GeoLeads, let's say my goal is to call 50 people on the street today. So I'm going to pull them up and then I'm just going to dial and they have a dialer. I'm not using the dialer yet, but I do just call. So we call, bring. If I get someone, I start a conversation. Then I type very brief notes and I move right on to the next one. And then if the next one I don't get a phone call, what I do is I send them a postcard. And this postcard is actually just, it looks really like I've handwritten it, but what I've really done was I hand wrote 4, and then I copied them into these perforated postcards. And then I just drop it in the mail. It's very low cost, you know, it's the postcard, it's postage stamps, and it takes no time at all. And so I'm sending that postcard because I'm going to, within the next 8 days, I'm going to reach out to them in probably 8 different ways. So it's a call, it's a follow-up until I get a hold of them and have a conversation with them, right? And so sending out that postcard is just, and this particular one says, I have a buyer for your property. If you're considering selling soon, give me a call. I haven't been using this postcard lately because yeah, it's, you know, I need a stronger sense of urgency. So I'm sending, you know, some stronger letters out that's a little bit more specific, and I kind of personalize the buyer that I'm looking for. So we briefly, you know, sort of talked over the targeting of buyers, but that's something that I've been using for quite a while. And what I do is when I show a buyer a home and they fall in love with it, and then their heart gets broken because somebody swooped in and bought it, but I know that this is the home, right? And we all know that when you've shown property, you see them mentally moving in, right? They're, you know, they're putting the, you know, the piano over here and the bedrooms this way, and, you know, it's just everything, you know it. So finding that house becomes the challenge, right? It becomes what we want to accomplish. And even in a really fast, even a healthy market or a market that's more equilibrium, sometimes finding that house is hard to do. So one of the first things that I learned to do with my GeoLeads was to help sort of refine, you know, those homes or search for those homes in those neighborhoods. And you know, I live in St. Johns County, Florida. There's a lot of building here, a lot of construction, and you know, builders, particularly production builders, tend to build floor plans very similar to each other, right? So if you have the Cordova, for example, or the Cortez might be, right? That if I can figure out what that floor plan is, I can find that floor plan. And so then if I need to know which neighborhoods, if I don't already know the neighborhoods, which I probably do, but if I don't, I can go and find those neighborhoods either through the relationships that I've established with the builder reps, or in some cases, I just go and find them as sellers on the tax rolls, right? And so you can find a way to sort of marry that up and find those sellers. And I've had success with this in the past. I've had success with this fairly recently. And I'll also say, regardless of whether you have success or not, if you're providing that service for your buyer, you know, how loyal are they going to be to you, right?
Absolutely. I totally agree with that, Trudy, because you know, here's the thing. I always tell my team this too, is what are you doing to go above and beyond for either buyer or seller? What are you doing to go above and beyond? Think about that, right? I mean, listings come on the MLS. Everyone sees it. They see it. So what? What is the difference between you and you know, someone else? Your value proposition, right? I think it's so important that you share that with your client. And just like you said, you're doing a lot of things that are different than what, you know, the norm is doing. Just having a home on the MLS, we got to be different. We got to tear ourselves apart and say, okay, this is what I do. This is my value proposition, correct? And that's, I love what you just said, is that sending the postcards, you know, if you don't get a hold of them, I mean, there's so many notes I took here, sending the postcards. Tell me a little bit about where you get those perforated postcards, where you just sign in and that's it, you send them.
These postcards, which I don't know if I have a blank one yet, but they're just for Office Depot, Staples, you can get them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're fairly inexpensive postcards. You know, that was, I started doing this actually a long time ago.
Wow.
when I had some, we have a lot of condominiums here. And so condominiums, maybe there's 100, 200 units, right?
Mhm.
And if a buyer, that's how this whole thing started with me. It was my buyers would fall in love with a unit and then, okay, great, we're going to wait 5 years for another one to come on the market. So what I did was I literally just started writing postcards, I got tired of doing that. So I figured, there's an easier way of doing it. And that's where these came from. So I do a postcard if I don't get a hold of them. And then if I do get a hold of them, and it didn't lead into an appointment, I write out a kind of a handwritten thank you.
Oh, right.
So I have two different, so 2 different mailers that are going out, and that's part of my, my 8-touch plan, right? Is to make sure that they're hearing from me in multiple ways.
Right. I was just about to say that is a system right there that you shared with us. I mean, there's so many different systems that everyone uses, and I think this system that you're sharing, and we just lost Hayley. I think Hayley is back, but we don't have a video turned on, but I'm sure, she'll be right back. But again, right, it's a system that that you have a follow-up system, a process that actually takes a buyer or a seller. And the whole thing is you want to make it conversational. You want to build that relationship. And I always on all our webinars say this, we are in a business of building relationships. Mm-hmm. As long as we understand that, and we understand that this is what kind of business we are in. But if you pick up the phone and just say, "Hey, I'm wondering if you're looking to sell, or we have a buyer," I mean, that does not connect. There's no connection there. So, step one, build up that relationship, right? So Hayley, if you can turn on your video, that would be awesome. We can't see you, but I want to share this exclusive offer from REDX, you guys, for LCA members only. Sign up now, and they will actually waive your entire setup for you guys, which is really amazing. There you are, Hayley. We missed you for a few seconds.
Sorry, something with our internet just skipped on us, but I'm back.
Thank you. Yeah, and so I was just mentioning about the exclusive offer from REDX for our LCA members. Sign up now and they will waive your entire setup fee, which is awesome. Thank you so much. And that's a savings of, you guys, $150. And that is amazing. We've got the link right there in our chat box. So if you can click on that link, that would be awesome. It'll take you right there straight to REDX. So we were talking about circle prospecting and some hacks and quite a few things that we actually discussed. Multiple offer scripts. How do you find specific home types that appeal to buyers, Trudy? You touched on that real briefly earlier, but tell us a little bit more. Let's dig into it.
So, I talked a little bit about new home construction and kind of the easier ones, right? And a little secret about that is the production builders don't build the exact same square footage for each home in the neighborhood just for that floor plan. So that's a great way of just saying, if I want this particular floor plan, then I look for homes that are in these neighborhoods with this square feet. And here's the thing. Who cares if it's actually a Cortez, right? I'm getting, or a Cortez, whatever, right? Who cares? My job in lead generation is to have as many conversations as I possibly can, right? Exactly. And so it doesn't hurt for me to get on the phone with somebody who doesn't particularly have that floor plan, right? But what I'm doing, I'm also giving my buyer an update of all the conversations that I've had, so they know how hard I'm working for them. And oh, by the way, I just happen to be speaking with a lot of people that I hadn't spoken with before, so that's great. For me, the way I reconcile it is it's a much easier way of lead generation, of starting those conversations, right? Because I really am coming from contribution. I mean, I really do have a buyer that is looking for your home. I really, in the multiple scripts situation, I really did have 10 people. And here's the thing, if you're an agent that's on the phone and you didn't have an open house, or you don't have a listing that you can market, there are people in your office, in your market center, in your brokerage, that do. And in this market, with things are moving so fast, and we're working harder than we've ever worked before, I know that there are agents that could use the help, that would, that aren't making the calls on all their open houses, or aren't, able to accomplish all of that, and would love the help. So, take the initiative to reach out to them and ask for, to leverage that listing, or to, if you don't have any buyers, find out, talk to buyer agents and say, hey, listen, what are you looking for? What are your buyers looking for? And then I'll start, adding that to my script. Hey, Susie and Joe are looking for, this particular kind of home, just like yours. Have you thought about selling?
Right. I think it's so important to really use the geo farming part of it, because I think geo prospecting actually, because that does, like you just said, get one of your buyer's agents, or one of your buyers are looking for 1 to 3, a main street, a property that is listed at X amount. You can actually call that neighborhood and say, hey, we have a buyer. We just want to make this connection happen. We don't necessarily have to go on the market. We
Right.
could do a private sale. We can make that connection happen. There's so many different ways of doing this, right?
That's right. I call it real estate matchmaking.
There you go.
That's exactly what we're doing. But, I've even taken it, for some of the more challenging, homes, I've even taken it a step further. And this is time consuming, but again, if it can be very, it can be worth it. So a couple of examples. I had a buyer beginning of this year that was looking for a what I call a compound, but basically they wanted an in-law suite, right? They wanted a separate in-law suite for the parents. And now that multi-generational housing is very popular. Lots of builders are building them. Right. But we know what's going on with builders right now. They can't keep up with inventory. So that just wasn't an option. So what I did was I went to our MLS and I pulled the history of every home with a guest house that's ever sold. And then just started, refining it from there. And then I started just, taking 5 or 6 a day. And I pull them up in GeoLeads, because in GeoLeads, you can pull one address at a time if you want to. And so I would just do that. And I got several great listing leads that I'm still working on. And I ended up selling a home to the buyer, and I represented both the buyer and the seller. So it that's a very tedious process, but it really worked really well. Yeah. Right. Right. And then the other one that I've done, I like to work with investors. Not everyone likes to work with investors, but I do. Investors, they kind of look around and go, but I love that one. Like that one looks like it needs some, no one's been taking care of that house and that sort of thing. And that's another way of just plugging that address in, finding all the contact information. And again, it's the I have a buyer script. I mean, every single one of these is I have a buyer. And even if you don't have a buyer, you're just networking. We have a Facebook group for our market center, and every day someone is posting, hey, who has a home, that blah, 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 right? No, everyone is struggling to find things for their buyers, and the buyers have urgent needs. So these are really easy scripts for the times that we're in. Because of the low inventory, I think these are phenomenal, great tidbits that you've shared with us, especially with, really focusing on the buyer's needs, wants, whatever that is, and then circle prospecting around that, pulling those out from the tax records and kind of marrying the two versions of it and, dialing out. Simple as that. Yeah. Again, you're building a relationship and you're doing something that's different. Not a lot of realtors do that. And again, that's another tip right there. You've shared some amazing tips so far, Trudy. Tell us a little bit more about, what else do you do differently with REDX? Is there anything that we've missed here that you can share? We've covered circle prospecting. We've covered multiple offer scripts. We've covered geo farming, neighborhood farming. We've covered specific home types. Like, wow. That's some great info that you've shared, but any other things that you share that you do that you can share with us? Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, for me, data is key. And what I really do like about REDX is how much information that I get, even if it's sometimes it's not always accurate. Like they might be an older phone number, or, you know, I might not be using sometimes you can see the emails are not right. But again, I don't care, because everyone needs a home, right? Everyone needs a home, whether they're a buyer or the renter, they need a home. So it's my job to be in conversation, be top of mind with as many people as possible, because people need homes. So, so I don't care, you know, if whatever. But what I do love is when I'm, you know, I also have the FSBO leads as well. And while, you know, FSBOs are going off the market every bit as fast as others, but both with FSBOs and even GeoLeads, sometimes it's really nice. There's a link to Trulia and Zillow. And that link, when you're on the phone, you just, even if it's not a FSBO and it's just an old, you know, you can actually pull up old photos, or you can pull up the current photos. You can get a lot of that information that they have posted right there while you're on the phone with them. There's also, you know, data in the, there's as much of the, you know, municipal data as they can get. So it's nice to be able to have all of that right in front of you while you're having that conversation, because it really does make you look like you're an expert.
You know it all, right? You're the expert, absolutely. So Dennis,
you've done all this research.
Yeah, exactly. Dennis Hessen has a question here for REDX. Are you actually for you? Are you getting your phone numbers from REDX? She says she apologizes. She doesn't know much about the company. So Hayley, I'd love for you to talk about REDX a little bit more. But Trudy, please, if you can answer this question.
Yeah, I do get the phone numbers from REDX, and what is great about that is, again, they're scrubbed for do not call. So again, I don't have, it saves me time. Like I don't really have to spend a lot of time going back and forth and trying to figure out whether or not I should use this number or I shouldn't use this number. So that's fantastic. I love it. And no, it's not always current, especially if the home is recently sold, right? Because it takes a little while for all that data to kind of filter through. But again, you know, that's a script that you should learn as well, which is the wrong number script, right? What do you say if somebody says, I don't know where, you know, whatever. I mean, you're going to get all kinds of responses like, where did you get my number from? And I've not lived at that. I don't even know that address or whatever. And then it's, you know, oh, silly me. I must have dialed the wrong number. My apologies. So, well, where do you live?
Right. Create the conversation, right? Build it up and just make it about, you know, building that relationship. Here we go again, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's a wrong number, kind of lightly write it off and say, hey, just, you know, be a little bit friendlier, right?
That's right. That's right. It's all about, again, having the most conversations you can.
Exactly. So yeah, well, Hayley, tell us a little bit more about REDX, because I see that, you know, people do want to know, what else does REDX do?
Yeah, I'd love to just give like a brief overview for Diana, is the person who asked the question. Yes. So what we're a software company, and we, so I should say, agents, if they're wanting to find contact information, like if Trudy wanted to do the same strategy that she's been talking about this entire time without REDX GeoLeads, it would take her a significantly longer amount of time, because she would have to go through public records. She'd have to go and scrub the DNC list herself. She'd have to go find all of the contact information. So to just call one lead would take, I don't know how much time that would take. It would take significantly more, like hours. But what we do is we do all of that work for you. So then all you have to do, we have a lead management software called Vortex that we mentioned. And all of your leads are put in there, and all you have to do is log in every morning whenever you want to call, and select the neighborhood that you want to call. If you're calling GeoLeads, we also have products like expired leads, which and for sale by owner leads, and you can look at our product suite on our website. But no matter the leads that you want to call, they're there. You call them, you have your script, all those things. That's just kind of a brief rundown. And when Trudy's saying like wrong numbers, you would, if you went and found them yourself, you'd run into wrong numbers as well, just because they're public records. They're not always perfect. And so that's just we just do all the dirty work for you so that you can focus on more time,
Right.
having more conversations.
Exactly. Then your job is to dial, and our job is to dial and have those conversations like Trudy's having. A couple of questions coming in, but I do want to let everyone know, exclusive offer from REDX for our LCA members only. Sign up, and obviously they'll waive your entire setup fee. That's pretty much $150 worth of savings, and you've got so much savings coming your way. Click on that link. Anthony asked, what makes what makes REDX better than other dialers such as Mojo Dialer? Great
Yeah,
question.
I'll take that question. So that's a great question. There's so many different dialers on the market, including Mojo Dialer. But what I'll just say about ours is if you do use REDX data, it's all in the same platform, all in the same system. So it's really seamless and really easy. So you don't have to go and export the data to go and put into another dialer. It's quicker, things like that. That's why a lot of people choose the REDX dialer over something that is another company. So
and you know what, I am going to say this because I did have Mojo, and that is the exact reason why I switched over to REDX. Okay, just speaking, I don't get paid from REDX. Trudy or I, none of us get paid from REDX, guys. We're giving you true testimonials here and two true reviews of what we're experiencing. Another question from Ron. Trudy, this one is for you. Do you put your Vortex leads into a CRM, and if so, when do you do that? And which CRM do you use that works well doing this?
Well, the answer is yes. I pull them in though as I have them in relationship, right? So Vortex actually organizes very well, and it's very easy to just go from one call to another, which is really what the focus is. Call, then follow it, go back and do all of the nice stuff like the cards, and if you promise to give someone a market summary, then you go back and do the market summary. If you can also categorize them, and so when if I have to call them back, then they go in one category. If I have spoken with them, then they're going in someplace else. That's the point where I'm going to download them and move them into my CRM. Now, I am a Keller Williams agent. I use Command. Command does everything. So that's an advantage for me to put them in one place, and then I can set it and forget it, put them on all kinds of drip campaigns and whatnot. So, but that's the point that I put them in the CRM. Otherwise, they stay in Vortex.
Right.
And Vortex is also very easy to use.
Right. We do the same, actually. We don't have Command. We're not KW, but it doesn't matter the CRM. I think it's just a matter of where it stays, and it just stays right there in Vortex. I think that in itself is good, and you can excel it out as well.
You can easily so, and you get, again, an abundance of information. So I usually have to spend quite a bit of time going, well, I love that information, but I really don't need it. So
exactly. You have to be.
One of the things that we haven't touched on is mailers out of Vortex. I mean, that is one thing that I do. If I am targeting a community, if there's only so many phone calls that I can make, and just one person, but if there is a community that I really want to target, that, a couple hundred, 1,000, whatever, those mailers are really where I start. And I customize a letter, and I can get that letter in there. I have a little image with what looks like my signature, so it looks like I signed it.
That's really awesome. See?
And then boom, all of those addresses just go into a PDF file, and you just print out, 100, 200, 1,000 letters, and then get those out. So if I'm really trying to hit a lot of people in a short period of time, I'm going to use the mailer, and then my phone call strategy is to reference that mailer.
Right. I think simple as, did you receive our letter? We are. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
So Tim has a question. Does REDX work in Canada, Hayley?
Great question. Yes, we do. With the different laws and things like that, we don't have like expired leads, but we do have GeoLeads for Canada. It just depends on your area. So if you call in and tell us exactly the areas that you're wanting, we can let you know exactly what services we provide in your area. So I would just say to call in just to make sure.
Awesome. And also, if you guys do, if our viewers do need to get going, we are being recorded live right now. So we are going to be available on our YouTube channel, you guys, LCA LabCoatAgents YouTube channel, which will be available later today. So please do subscribe and do go to our channel, and you can hear all about this. And if you want to see it again, I mean, Hayley and Trudy's got some amazing content here for you guys. And I would love to watch it again. So there it is right there in the YouTube channel for LabCoatAgents. I know Donita had a question here saying, can you export the data?
Yes, so if you wanted to use a different dialer or anything, you definitely can. If you want to see how there are tutorials in Vortex if you want, or you can call our team and they can do a step-by-step process as to how you would do that. But super simple if you wanted to do that as well.
And Leon asked a question, does it skip trace?
Trace, is that looking up, sorry?
So basically, skip trace. So basically, Leon clarified this. You're probably asking, does it skip the phone calls? If someone doesn't pick up, it goes.
Oh, yes.
If that's what you mean, Leon, I'm not too sure. But yes, it does, I think.
You can leave voicemails if you would like. But if you don't, you can skip that part. Easy.
Okay. More clarification on that question, Leon. So when you get a moment, please do clarify that. Alicia said, I'd love to follow Trudy on social media for a possible connection later. Awesome. Can you please share that when you get a moment? I'm sure she will.
I absolutely will. It's Trudy can sell that everywhere on social media. So yeah, I'll type that in.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we're getting so many amazing questions, so keep them going. Anything you want to know about REDX for Hayley and Trudy, as well, her scripts, her dialogues, her 8-touch plans, what she does, how she does it, when she does it. I mean, amazing content we've got going here. And, we should do this again, ladies. I think, people, especially because now that everything is opening up, more networking we can do, more information we can share. That would be great, lovely for our audience out there. So I'd love to do this if you guys are up and ready for it. Yeah. So Tess, schedule us in again. Okay. So again, Leon just asked, does it look up client information when you manually add a client?
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yes. If you have like a certain address or a certain person, something that you're looking up, we will also like scrub against the DNC. We'll get all that information for you. So yeah, you can do that all within Vortex as well.
Leon, I use REDX, so I highly recommend it. So click on that link and get yourself signed up for it, because it's amazing. Like Trudy and I am saying, because again, we don't get paid to do this, but we love REDX, and that's why we're here. Yes, absolutely. And I think that's about it. I think we're caught up with the questions, because there were a whole bunch of questions that came in. I just wanted to make sure that we answer all questions. Okay, Rama asked a question, contact information of Trudy. Trudy, you're popular today. Let's go.
I am typing it right now.
It's very simple. She's, she's also on all social media platforms. Just go ahead and, just send her a friend request. I'm sure she'll respond to you. Anything else, Trudy, that you can share with us before we sign off, which I don't want to do yet, because I really love talking to you ladies. So tell us a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about conversions, conversations. What else can REDX provide besides, of course, circle prospecting, geofarming? We can touch a little bit on expireds, maybe, if that's what you do also.
Yeah, I mean, we have all sorts of things. Expired leads are a little hard right now, obviously, because things are not staying on the market for very long. So people are actually prospecting old expireds. So if you do have our expired product, or if you do get it, you can filter and look up expired leads from years ago. So if you wanted to call around people that you want to tell them, hey, your equity is probably a lot higher than it was a few years ago when you tried to sell, I probably can guarantee that we'll sell it this time. So a lot of people are doing that with our expired leads. We also have for sale by owners, like Trudy said as well, which is also kind of a tough thing right now. We also have for rent by owner leads. So this is vacant leads that like investors have, a lot of phone numbers for investors, like if they want to liquidate and sell their properties or looking to help them get more properties, things like that, people are calling. And we also have pre-foreclosure leads. So
love all that information that you
yes.
just shared. Like, this is the time, you guys. Let's create that inventory. You see, we keep complaining about low inventory, but isn't it our responsibility as realtors to create that inventory? So do your part, obviously. Again, REDX, a special offer right here for LCA members. Only sign up now, and they will waive the entire setup fee. Click on that link that Tessa just put in the chat box. By the way, Hayley, you said something about expireds. How old are these expireds going to?
It really depends on what you want. You can find ones that are a year or two old, all the way back. It differs on your location and things like that. But you can go back several years to find people and see if either they did end up selling the property or if they never did and are looking to sell now. So yeah, great opportunity there. And I like what you said about how it's agents' responsibility to help create inventory, which is what I love about what Trudy has been sharing with us all today, is all about getting inventory, like creating it, finding it, instead of just sitting around and waiting for it to happen. That's definitely what prospecting is. Obviously, lead generation is doing all those things, but there's a lot of opportunity. So you just have to find it.
Absolutely. And I think that, sorry, Trudy, you're about to say something and I'm just like on a roll here. So shut me up when you need to, because I can go on. But yeah, I think, like Hayley said, and like Trudy is actually experiencing, we have got some great, we as realtors have some great vendors and some great tools that we can actually use to build and create our business. I think we have to stay focused more on creating the inventory instead of negatively talking about, oh my God, there's no inventory. Don't focus on that. Focus more on what can you do. And here REDX is offering this to you. And we've got Trudy and myself both giving a testimonial of how amazing REDX has been as part of our businesses, right? Our growing businesses.
I think that's such an important point that you made, is the mindset. I mean, we are the ambassadors for our industry. And so if we are kind of taking this sort of Eeyore approach, then we're putting that out there. And so we've got to, be enthusiastic and really share the potential. And this is a great market. So I don't know.
And
you can't tell me it's not a great market.
Exactly. And here it is. What you focus on expands. Simple as that. Just keep that in mind. You keep on focusing on something not working, well, it's not going to work.
I also think, for agents that have not used REDX or are not used to making calls that are, or interactions that are cold in nature, I would absolutely encourage role-playing, scripts, using all of those tools. Practice with other agents in your office, especially agents that might be comfortable doing this, that have some experience doing this, because that's how you get better at it, right? When you hear those conversations, when you have those conversations, you certainly can have those conversations with people and you'll get better with it at time. But that's how we all get comfortable saying what we're saying. It's because we do it over and over and over again, and we practice it. And so I definitely would encourage that if you have a little bit of fear of making those phone calls, try it out on some people.
I think and I totally agree with you. Role play is so important. We actually in our team have, role plays for different departments, especially with our ISAs and all our other team members that we have. We do role plays every morning when they come on shift. This is something that'll get you, mentally ready to dial. Confident about what to say. And of course, the more you say it, like Trudy said, the more better it is. Obviously, Diana had mentioned something about low inventory, and that's obviously, good to recognize. Trudy, which products do you use from REDX? I know that we use the geofarming, the Vortex dialer, of course, we use the expires, but what do you use?
So I actually started with pre-foreclosure sales. That was the first, my first thing. So I started, before, a little bit before, the market became what the market is, right? And that I had a background in short sales from, back, when short sales were a thing. So I thought, I'll try this because this is something that I certainly have a comfort level with. And so I really loved the data that I was getting. And so that's when I decided to go into GeoLeads. I actually do work in all of Northeast Florida. So that's a large, that geography is huge. Yeah. And so to get the amount of data that I have access to through REDX is huge.
Exactly.
And so so it really so the GeoLeads, you'll have to pry them out of my cold dead hands. But
sometimes the go-to is so important. Like it's like having our coffee in the morning, right? It's that good.
Yeah.
It's tough to get it out of our hands, especially with the geofarming these days, and the pair it up with door knocking invites to invite everybody to come to your open houses.
Well, that's so great. Farming is we didn't really talk too much about that, and I think maybe this will be a good segue for our next conversation, because I also don't do a lot of door knocking, if ever, and so that's something that I'm going to be introducing. And you're right, so I have a very current list of my farm that I got from GeoLeads, and I can update that regularly. So, people are moving in, people are moving out. It's great because it helps me remember the conversations that I had while we're in sort of neighborhood social functions, right? We're walking the dog, we're, at the park or whatever. And so I can kind of go back and, sleuth very easily and go, oh, look, I have that information. Right. And can, keep those notes, because I don't have a great memory, but I have great notes. So I can go back and remember all of that. But some of the pop buys that we're going to be introducing over the summer, I can personalize using that data as well. And so I'm really looking forward to that. That is something the market center that I'm in is very good about coming up with really great ideas for pop buys. And so again, it's a great way of staying top of mind. Doesn't have to be very expensive. But the great compliment that REDX gives me is that I can remember people, right? I can put those names, make it personal, and people will remember that a little bit more.
Exactly. And again, the more you are face-to-face, or the more you are on the phone, they will recognize your voice. Or even, sending them emails, or drip campaigns, or smart, whatever database or CRM you have, the more you're in front of it. At the end of the day, it's all about who do you know, really that is in this business, that is face-to-face. They're going to recognize that. Whether it's sending them a piece of mail, they will recognize your name, and always being forefront of it. Again, this is being recorded, you guys, not to worry. It is on YouTube if you do need to get going. Thank you so much for attending, but we are being recorded here. It will be live on our YouTube channel very soon. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, of course, LCA, LabCoatAgents. And a quick announcement about REDX, you guys. We are, it's $150 savings. Setup fee is waived, so please do click on that link here below. Random question from Alicia. She says, "Is your handwritten postcards that you copy, when you copy it, are you copying a JPEG or a PNG or a PDF? Sometimes a photocopy is recognized."
Yes. So the answer is yes to all of it. I do have, sometimes I just put this on the copier and just let it go, right? But I do have a JPEG of this as well, so I can send it that way, and then quickly run over and put my postcards in and set them front and back. But yeah, it works. It works really. I tend to do a lot at one time, so I don't run out, but yeah, it works really well.
Exactly. So, one thing I want to say to everyone out there is that us as realtors have to focus on 4 things: lead generation, lead cultivation, writing those offers, and negotiating. Everything else can be actually given away to our admins, right? So keep that in mind. If you're not lead generating like Trudy is on a very high level, or lead generating like we do on our team, you are going to struggle with the inventory continuously. You're going to struggle with that low inventory syndrome, so to speak, right? So obviously pair it up with REDX, like we pair our wine up with our dinners. And take it away, right? I mean, it's great. REDX is amazing. Thank you so much, Hayley. One more time, here is REDX special offer for LCA members. Please do sign up. The link is right there. They will waive your setup fee. You know, there's savings right there whenever you pair up with LabCoatAgents. Again, thank you, everyone. This is so awesome. If there's any additional questions, please do share with us. Trudy, any last words you want to say with us until next time? Hayley, what about you? Please do say it right now, or hold your peace for about 3 weeks.
Well, I would just want to end on a word of encouragement. For those of you who are new and getting started, this may feel like a terrible market, but I will tell you, a lot of the agents that you are familiar with on, HGTV shows and some of the top producing agents that you are familiar with all started in 2008, 2009 as the market was crashing. So the market is what you make of it. Mindset is so important. Surround yourself by people who will encourage you, that believe in you, so that when times get tough, you can lean on their belief in you, because that is super important. And the calls that you're making right now, don't get frustrated by, not getting an appointment right away, or not, again, the goal is a conversation. The goal is to stay in touch, because I promise you 2 years from now, or 2 months from now, or 6 months, someone's going to call you that you called and you're not even going to remember that conversation. You have long since forgotten. All of a sudden, because you made the effort, because you did the follow-up, because you did all of those steps, they're going to remember you and they are going to call you. And as I always say, I'm going to need to eat in 6 months, just like I need to eat tonight. So
Exactly. And I totally agree with you on that, Trudy. It's how you say it, to how many people you say it to, and what you say really matters. And if they're not ready yet, don't worry about it, because the more you continuously stay in touch with them, they're going to come back to you. We've had leads come back to us. They were looking and decided not to buy 6 to 8 months ago, and now they're back, right? And they're saying, you know what, we've seen your listings, we want to work with you, we want to list our home, whatever the conversation might be, right? Again, be in front of them. I think that those are great tidbits that you have. We would love to do this again with you, Hayley, and of course, Trudy. Thank you so much for your time. This was really powerful to everyone who is out there. We look forward to talking to you soon.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank you.
Talk soon. Bye-bye.